Hi, welcome to Career Development 1 Mini Lecture 4. The purpose of this mini lecture is to discuss Donald Super's developmental theory. So the theories that we've discussed thus far are really person-environment fit theories. Super's theory is different in that it includes developmental concepts into the process of career choice. The foundation of this theory is that vocational development is a process of making several decisions that yield vocational choices that reflect our sense of self. So some major points to keep in mind here. Sense of self is a primary concern of this theory, and occupational choice is a way of living out that sense of self. The second being the idea of maturity, that development is a process, that these stages that we're about to talk about really build on themselves. So Super's theory talks about how life can be divided into 5 developmental stages, also known as maxi-cycles: growth, exploration, establishment, maintenance or management, and disengagement. And you'll see the associated age ranges there. So these stages are characterized by developmental tasks. And most people experience these things at some point in their lives, the idea being, again, that it's developmental, that it's building. So this is presented in a really linear way. I would argue that most of us kind of cycle in and out of these stages throughout our lives. So the theory talks about a mini cycle, and this is what occurs during the transition from one stage to another. This is the recycling, re-exploration, re-establishment of each prior stage. So this theory talks about life roles, and Super really changed the game by talking about career as part of a greater context of our life roles. So we're not just workers. While making a living, people make a life. So these life roles that Super talks about in the theory: child, student, homemaker, worker, citizen, and leisurite. That's a fun word. So these roles, of course, change in intensity. They interact with each other. Some people enjoy holding many of these roles. Others would be overwhelmed holding many of them. So again, we just want to look at individuals for who they are. My favorite part of this theory is that it's accompanied by not only a visual, but a rainbow. So this is the life career rainbow that's used to conceptualize this theory. And the first time I looked at this, I thought it was cool that there's a rainbow, but I couldn't quite grasp what was what. I saw that the words were the same words as were used in the theory, but I didn't really understand what was going on in the middle. So I made my own for you to try to show you what it would look like in practice. So I put a little "you are" here to just be a marker for my age range right now. You'll see here the ages 5 through 80, and you'll see the life stages: growth, exploration, establishment, maintenance, disengagement. So what's really cool about this, I think, is that you can really make it your own. You and your client can figure out the best way of filling this out, being creative in whatever way serves the client. So I did this simply just with some crayons and a pen here. And you'll see that these roles, they are represented by the amount of space or time that these roles are taking in my life. So for example, child, of course, was bigger in the early years, got a lot thinner in the middle years so far, and then here getting much bigger because of relationships in my life with my parents. So another thing that I think is cool about this, not only can we play with the visual and be creative here, but we can play with the language. So I use the words directly as they are in the theory, just to keep things consistent. But I might use, instead of student, I might use learner, because being a student is really, for me, that it really is when I've been in school, a formal student. But I consider myself a learner I hope to be a learner for life. So I think of the word learner as just a bit more accessible. Homemaker doesn't really resonate for me. My spouse and I are equal homemakers, so I might use just simply the word family. But your client can really make this their own, and it can really be accessible in that way. So Supra's theory in practice, I find, can be a really good fit for us, for psychotherapists. The goal here is to help clients understand themselves, which of course leads to a better vocational fit. And this is what we're doing anyway as psychotherapists. So we're really wanting to look at what's the narrative and to encourage our clients to be thinking, who am I and where am I going? So we're looking at themes and patterns. We're looking at these life roles. What's most important to the client? What has been most important to them throughout their life? How does the client attach meaning to these stages of their life? And how has self-concept been included or implemented in their career thus far? So a couple of closing thoughts. I think this is a really good framework. And again, it's accessible and it makes sense for us as psychotherapists. I find the language, as is the case with many of these theories, to be quite limiting. But as I said, we can make it our own. And that's really great. It's not dependent on this specific language, the way some other theories are dependent on assessments and such. So I would encourage you to consider what might be some important updates to the language. Supra's theory talks about these developmental phases as being linear. How might this be true or untrue in your eyes? And how might you make this your own? Thinking about that rainbow, the language, the visuals, etc. As always, if anything needs to be clarified, please let me know. Thanks for watching.